Adelaide is a rather interesting city, with various attractions ranging from Adelaide Oval through to Rundle Mall through to the Art Gallery through to Botanic Gardens. However, if you're going to be staying in Adelaide, you have to ask yourself, where are you going to stay? So let's look at one option, being the Intercontinental, which I stayed at recently. The Intercontinental is in Adelaide CBD and is on North Terrace. It is an extremely convenient location, being a very short walk from Adelaide Oval, which is directly accessible from the hotel. The convention centre is on one side of the hotel, and on the other side are the casino, next to which is the Parliament House. The university campuses are also on the very same street, and the main shopping and food district, being around Rundle Mall, is just minutes away. So it looks good so far, but there is a catch, and the catch is that the hotel is rather old. The hotel was built in the 1980s, and it certainly looks like it. The outside looks like a standard hotel from the era. It has a spacious street frontage, but it otherwise looks like a giant obelisk. It looks like it is a hotel that was built in the 1980s. But of course, many hotels might be modernized. That unfortunately is not the case for the Intercontinental. You enter the hotel, and the interior immediately starts to date it. The atrium looks like it was built in the 1980s and hasn't really been updated. It's certainly clean, but it is very, very much of the time period. It's standard issue 1980s hotel interior. But of course, you're not going to be staying in the lobby or in the atrium. Rather, you're going to be staying in the guest rooms. So you go to the elevator and you go up to the guest floors. Now, the guest floors are also a little bit odd. Each guest level resembles a panopticon prism, with the odd result the guests can see other guests coming and going and walking around the hotel floors. It's a very weird interior design. But again, you won't be staying on the actual floor, you'll be staying in the rooms. And the rooms are perhaps a step down again. The rooms are an issue. Upon entering, it is immediately apparent that the rooms could use a refresh. Now, I'm sure that the cleaners do a great job, and they are very friendly when I've met them. But the rooms look like they are old. It looks as if the carpet needs replacing. The bedding looks dated. The couch looks in dire need of replacement. The bathroom is actually a little bit better, but again, it is of the era. When you enter the bathroom, through what looks like a closet door, you see these rather old-looking red tiles. Now, at least they're interesting. They're certainly better than the drab interior of the rest of the hotel. However, the whole hotel room looks like it needs updating. It looks like it is an old hotel and it needs a refresh. Some of the refresh wouldn't even cost very much money. Replacing the couch probably wouldn't cost that much. Replacing the carpet probably wouldn't cost that much in the grand scheme of things. Steam cleaning it could just be done as well. They could replace some of these things, maybe paint the rooms, and modernize it quite significantly. But they've evidently decided not to do so. Now, the room otherwise has relatively standard issue accoutrements. So for example, it has a mini fridge, it has a coffee maker, it has sufficient power points. Internet is free and fast. However, the hotel room itself is rather old, and it feels just rather drab. Elsewhere in the hotel is a full-featured gym. The gym equipment is a little bit old, but it's otherwise rather clean, and it works. And the gym is open 24 hours, which is a massive improvement over most hotel gyms. And there should be enough space and enough equipment to prevent crowds or significant wait times if you were to be using the gym. The gym is probably one of the standout features of this hotel. Another standout feature is the staff. The staff are extremely pleasant in my experience, the check-in was very smooth, and everyone was friendly. The hotel staff make for a welcoming experience. However, the hotel itself is, like I said, a little bit on the old and dated side. Now, overall, however, the biggest selling point is probably the location. It is extremely central. It's very easy to get to everything, whether it's a work meeting or going to Adelaide Oval. Most areas are very directly accessible, particularly if you are a tourist and you're visiting and just want to be able to walk to everything very easily. But of course, it begs the question of, would I use this hotel again? And really it comes down to what the cost is at the time and whether I really needed that location, or whether I'd be willing to go for a slightly less glamorous location that might just be a couple of minutes away but pay less money. Now, Adelaide is not a big city, which means you could stay in a slightly less glamorous, slightly less prominent location, save quite a lot of money, potentially stay in a more modern hotel, and not really lose very much, because everything is just going to be a couple of minutes walk away. So it's not actually even clear you really need this very central location unless you absolutely need to be able to walk to the Oval in just a couple of minutes. I personally would probably look for other hotels next time I visit, although it really will come down to what is available and what the cost is at the time. But those are my thoughts about the Intercontinental. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below, and I'd be interested to hear your suggestions about other places to stay as well.